All right, let's talk about longevity. We've all heard the advice from different experts, and honestly, it can be overwhelming. So we've done the work of distilling all those key insights into a single, straightforward blueprint for a longer, healthier life. Let's dive in. I want you to start with this question. What if aging wasn't this thing that just happens to you? Not some inevitable one-way street of decline? And what if you actually had the power to influence that process? To grab the steering wheel and change not just how long you live, but how well you live. Well, that's the incredible promise of the new science of aging. It's not about accepting fate, it's about taking control. We've synthesized the research, and here's the blueprint. So, let's start at the beginning. Section 1, rethinking the aging process. The whole game changes when you realize this one simple fact. Your lifestyle is constantly talking to your genes. Every choice you make is sending a message directly to your DNA. The science behind this is a fascinating field called epigenetics. Now, think of your DNA as this massive library of instruction manuals for your body. Epigenetics doesn't rewrite those manuals, but it acts like a librarian who decides which ones to pull off the shelf and read today. And guess what? Your lifestyle choices have a huge influence on that librarian. So, when you have a poor diet or you're not moving your body, you're basically telling that librarian to pull out all the manuals for accelerated aging. But here's the amazing part. It is absolutely a two-way street. Good habits tell the librarian to pull out the manuals for repair, for energy, and for health. Okay, so if our choices are that powerful, where do we start? That brings us to section 2, the foundation. And here's the key. Before we even think about adding anything good, we have to get serious about removing what's hurting us. This really is the most important first step. And the experts are pretty much in agreement on the main culprits. Topping the list, no surprise, excess sugar and refined carbs. Right behind them are industrial seed oils, the ones in everything, ultra-processed foods, certain types of dairy, and even getting too much iron from supplements. But let's talk about why sugar is so bad. It's not just about empty calories. There's a process called glycative stress. When you have too much sugar floating around, it literally starts to randomly stick to proteins in your body. This creates these stiff, dysfunctional molecules, aptly named AGs. The best analogy? It's like your insides are slowly browning, like food in a hot pan, causing your tissues to get stiff and brittle. Okay, so we've done the cleanup. We've removed the accelerators. Now for the fun part. Section 3, the core. Let's talk about what to add and how to build your ideal longevity plate. First, let's clear up a really crucial distinction. You hear plant-based all the time, which most people take to mean a diet that completely excludes animal products. But a lot of longevity experts are now using the term plant-rich. The idea is that plants are the star of the show, the majority of your plate, but it's not a rigid all-or-nothing approach. It's way more flexible and focuses on getting the most nutrients possible. So what's on this plate? Well, you're looking at a rainbow of colorful vegetables, absolutely packed with these protective compounds called phytochemicals. Lots of healthy fats from things like olive oil, avocados, nuts, and seeds. Of course, high-quality protein. And tons of fiber and fermented foods to keep your gut happy. You can even include some of these so-called weird grains, which are just ancient varieties that are way more nutritious. And that brings us to a really, really critical point, protein. Dr. Mark Hyman puts it perfectly. He says muscle mass is the currency of longevity. As we get older, we all start to lose muscle. It's a natural process. And getting enough high-quality protein is our #1 defense to stay strong, mobile, and functional. But is it as simple as just eat more protein? Well, this is where the new science gets super interesting and reveals a critical nuance that you need to know about. So here's the thing. A specific part of animal protein, an amino acid called leucine, is amazing at flipping the switch for muscle building. But if that switch is stuck in the on position all the time, it can actually get in the way of your body's essential cleanup process. It's like you're so busy building new things that you never take out the trash, and cellular junk starts to pile up. The takeaway isn't to fear protein, but to understand that balance is key. So that nutrient-dense, plant-rich diet is the core of our pyramid. But it's not just about what you eat. It's also about what you do. And that takes us to section 4, accelerators. These are powerful habits that amplify all the good work your diet is doing. There are 3 big ones. First, regular exercise. This does way more than burn calories. It actually forces your body to build its own internal antioxidant defense system. It's amazing. Second, quality sleep. When you're in deep sleep, your brain releases melatonin, a powerful antioxidant that literally helps clean up cellular waste. And third, strategic fasting. This is probably the most powerful tool we have to switch on that cellular recycling program, autophagy, that clears out all the damaged junk that accumulates as we age. And look, fasting can mean a lot of different things. It might just be a daily 12-hour eating window, which is a great place to start. Or for others, it might be a 20-hour fast to really maximize that autophagy. There are also periodic resets, like the 5-day fasting mimicking diet, which are designed to trigger a really deep cellular reboot. Okay, we've built our foundation, we've established our core, now we're at the very top of the pyramid. Section 5, the apex. This is all about precision tuning, advanced and personalized strategies for when you've really mastered the fundamentals. This is where things like targeted supplementation come in. And we're not talking about a generic one-a-day multivitamin. We're talking about using specific compounds for specific goals. For example, using something like NMN to boost cellular energy, or a specific type of magnesium to improve sleep, or high EPA omega-3s to get inflammation under control. It's about using supplements as precise tools. And the science at this level is moving incredibly fast. Researchers are now exploring compounds called senolytics. The easiest way to think of them is like a special forces team for your cells. They go in and specifically target and clear out old, dysfunctional zombie cells that hang around and cause problems. It's really cutting-edge stuff. But, and this is probably the single most important message in this whole section, with any of these advanced tools, there is one non-negotiable rule. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman says it best: get your blood work done, test, don't guess. This has to be personalized. The goal is to figure out what your unique biology needs, not to just blindly copy what some expert is doing. And that really brings us full circle. This is your longevity blueprint. Think of it not as a rigid set of rules, but as a flexible framework, a pyramid that you build for yourself, always starting from the ground up with that strong foundation. So we've covered the science, the framework, and the tools. We've gone from epigenetics to autophagy, from what to remove to what to add. You now have the blueprint. So the only question left is, what's the very first brick you're going to lay?